Hello.
Hello,
Welcome
hello.
to Reading Sprints. It's nice to see your face. And we were just saying before we came on, we didn't coordinate the Nightmare
But
Before Christmas wear, but it's the wardrobe.
it's matching,
Spooky
it's matching.
girls. Yeah, spooky girls worldwide understand this outfit choice.
Yeah, I just needed something warm for, just to sit down and relax. And I just chose Jack today.
Well, this is fleecy from head to,
Ah,
well, neck to toe, basically. I'm just wearing fleecy pajamas. I keep thinking I'll put
nice.
them away, and then the weather, it just keeps letting me down. Being winter, I want it to be spring now. I'm ready for spring.
Yeah, me
I
too.
keep seeing stuff growing and thinking, oh man, it's going to be dead in a few days. Like we need some sunshine. We need some warm weather. I booked Centre Parks for March, and I'm hoping that by the middle of March we might actually be getting some spring weather. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a miserable time.
I hope so for you because it's really cold when you go like all day outside. Like just for a bit, it's fine. But if you're really out in the open all day, it can get a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to this because, like, we'll book theme parks and stuff,
Yeah,
like the other end of the country, and you've just got to do it when you've got a small person that's excited to meet Peppa Pig. You've
yeah,
just got to go and meet Peppa
yeah.
Pig, even if it's a torrential downpour. She says from
True.
true experience. Poor Peppa looked, wet and the rest of it, but Nathan was happy. So we were just saying we've had a busy week. Well, 2 busy weeks. So you are going to read tonight to relax, and
Yes.
I'm going to read a little bit. You've got me on a path with
Oh, I
Darcy.
see.
So you started this because you told me to read Dead of Winter, and I did.
Yes.
And I became obsessed with it, and then bought another Darcy Coates book, and I've started reading it, and I'm now absolutely obsessed with this. I love it. Have you
That's
read this one?
Sharon's favorite. No, I haven't yet.
Oh, it's so good. I think, okay, so I loved the last one. I can't tell you yet which I prefer until I get to the end, I
Mm,
don't think. But I love with this, it's about deep sea divers, and I like learning when I read. So I don't know much about deep sea diving, and I love that it's teaching me stuff, and it's really scary because they're in a ship
mm,
and they're doing like periodically, like longer dives, like they go down and they can only
mhm.
stay so long and then go back up. And
Yeah.
they've just done the first dive, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's already so sinister, and I can just tell that each
Uh,
dive is going to get worse.
yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I'm loving it. I'm so happy. Like, and you find I had a really weird reading year last year where I read some really
Mm,
good books, and then I spent a lot of time slogging through books I don't think that I was enjoying that much. And
mm.
I feel like now I'm like, oh man, amazing books back to back. This is just, I'm back in my groove again.
I had a mixed month, I think, in January. I mean, it was fine. And this month we will see because I'm also going to be traveling, so I hope to have some time to read. I'm trying to prioritize this year some new releases and books that I have still on my Kindle since who knows when, so
I
that
mean,
I get to some stuff.
yeah, this is the problem with my Kindle. I see stuff on offer and I think, oh, I'll
Yeah,
download that. And
exactly. That's
then
me.
I scroll through and I'm like, and NetGalley too. I
Yeah,
download stuff
same.
from there all the time. And I think there must be hundreds of books on my Kindle that I haven't read. And I just keep reading physical ones. Like I do love my Kindle, but I don't always crave it.
Mm,
Like at the moment, I'm loving like this book feels nice. I think it's like one of those American ones, so it feels a bit matte and it's not exactly floppy, but it just like feels good in my
it's
hands.
quite big though. It's quite chunky. Yeah.
It's 500 pages, which for a horror and for a
Wow.
Darcy Coates, I think it's on the longer side, but it has a historical, it
Mm,
flip-flops between the actual sinking of the ship and the modern day explorers.
okay.
So I think it's kind of two storylines rolled into one. So it's got that
Mm.
going on. So I want to read that later, but also Dexter, the new Dexter is on tonight on Paramount. So I'm going to be watching that. And it's probably already on that. I don't know. I think it came on today. And editing my Dracula book, which is
Mm.
getting so close to done now, Kasha. It's so
Oh.
I can.
Is it like the first draft or is it?
So I've done all the structural edits. This is the first copy edit. So this is
Mm.
like the kind of nitty gritty wording stuff. So then there'll be a proofread, and then that'll probably be it.
Oh.
Like nearly there.
Exciting.
Which it comes out. It's like just over 6 months, 7 months now. Yeah, 7 months it comes out. So
Mhm.
yes, there's a lot going on in my head at the moment in
It's
my
almost
house.
there. It's almost there. Because if it's almost ready
Yeah.
for proofs, then it's almost there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
experience.
they're doing proofs or if they're doing early copies. I've not asked the
Oh,
question yet. They mentioned proofs at one point because they were thinking about what to do for the proof, so I assume that means I'm getting them. But some publishers prefer to do it, like Scholastic prefer to do early copies
early copies. Hmm.
than proofs. So I don't know about Ink Road. They're new to me, so we will see. I'm trying to think. I've had books from Ink Road before, and I can't remember if they were proofs or finished copies. So don't know. Let's go to the comments, then we'll find out what Kasha is reading. So, if are you here yet, Stephen? Hi.
Mhm.
You are.
Hello.
Oh,
Ooh.
Shelley and I are buddy reading that, and we're about 6,
Mm.
I think. So we haven't got to the horror yet, but it's very good. I know you loved that one, didn't you?
Yeah, so it was one of my favorites last year and my favorite Grady Hendrix, but it's very different from his other books. I'm really scared that people are not gonna love it.
That's the only thing. So
Yeah,
so far, I mean, it's called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and I'm like
yeah.
60 pages in, and I haven't got any witchcraft yet. So that is my only quibble thus far. Like,
No,
I really want witchcraft.
it's
Is there
gonna
witchcraft?
come
Tell me
like
there's witchcraft. Tell me it's not
20%
magical.
into the book, but it's not classic witchcraft. Let me
Okay.
put it that way.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
it comes at some point, but it takes a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, I've been there before. Like people have said it's a vampire book or whatever, and then you find out it's a metaphor for vampires, or they say witches,
Uh,
and it's a metaphor for witches, and you're like, no, I actually just wanted the witches, please. So that might be my only issue, but the writing is impeccable, the
mm.
characterization, the atmosphere, and how it describes the lives of these young women. Man, I'm like screaming at the
This book
book.
is gonna make you upset. It's gonna make you emotional. You're gonna go on a roller coaster, and that's why I loved it so much. And I did get my finished copy, but I'm gonna cherish my proof, like my
Yeah.
oh, it's here, the arc, because it came with this sleeve that says
Oh,
how to be a good witch, and it comes like with this sleeve, and then if you remove it, you get the regular cover.
that's
So I'm
cool.
gonna keep this as a treasure because it's one of the books that I like the most. It's definitely my favorite Grady Hendrix, which is weird because it's the one maybe that it's more different. But yeah, I'm excited for people to finish it and tell me what they thought.
Yeah, you kind of, it's one of those things like Grady Hendrix books in particular, his books are so different that I think depending on what you want, there will be a clear favorite, won't there? And he's got so much
Mm,
variety that I feel like everybody who's got any inkling towards horror should find one that they vibe with. And people tend to like Southern Book Club's Guide
mhm,
or Best Friend's Exorcism, I think. They're the ones, and then Horror Store gets some bonus mentions too. Um, yeah, I probably like My Best Friend's Exorcism best because of the 80s
mm.
references. And I liked a lot about Southern Book Club's Guide. Um, I still haven't finished How to Sell a Haunted House because there were just things about it that I struggled with. But I might at some point because I think I'm about 20 pages in the horror kicking in. So I maybe need to just get through the sad bit at the beginning and get to the horror because I think I'd probably enjoy that more.
I did like that one actually. I know some people didn't like it. I also like Final Girl Support Group, and a lot of people didn't like that one, but I think it's because of the subgenre that it is. I like slashers, so in general, I think I was meant to enjoy that that book.
Yeah, same.
But
I think
yeah.
I expected to enjoy it slightly more than I did because I love
Mm,
slashers so much, but I thought it was really good. There's something about it. I think it was maybe the characters. I kept getting slightly
maybe.
confused with each other.
Mm,
Because they'd all had similar
stories,
situations.
background
Yeah.
stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I liked that one, but not my favorite probably. So
Mm.
what are you planning to read tonight?
So I am currently filming a reading vlog for Valentine's Day, and
Ah, nice.
I have to finish it before I go on holidays. Well, holidays. I'm gonna be working. I'm just gonna visit my parents, but I'm taking my laptop with me, so I'm gonna be working. I just call it holidays because I'm changing countries. But so I want to finish that vlog before I leave. And I'm reading now the second book for that vlog, which is Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel
Ah,
Harrison. So I'm gonna start it today. I have it on my beloved Kindle. So I'm gonna be reading on my Kindle. And I don't know what to think of that one because I have picked two books for the reading blog that are horror combined with romance for Valentine. And I don't know, it's gonna be my third Rachel Harrison book. And I hope I enjoy it, even though people say there's more romance than in the other ones. So I think you probably have read it because you've read, I think, all of her books this far.
Yeah, the only one I've not read is The
So
Return.
thirsty.
Yeah,
Oh,
The
so
Return, which yeah, I do own that
ah,
one. But yeah, I don't know which I like the best. I read Bad Dolls first, which is seems to be
mm,
not as famous a one. It's I don't think they're quite novellas. They're like long short stories or short novellas.
yeah.
And I thought that one was genius. So that's maybe my favorite because it was the first. Like it just came
Mm,
from nowhere. I just picked it up in Forbidden Planet. I'd not heard of her before and was just totally obsessed. It was during Comic Con, I think a couple of years ago, and I was really tired. I'd been like doing events all day, picked this book up, and then I ended up reading really late, even though I had more events at Comic Con the next day.
nice. But
So
it's not
that's
that big, so you can finish it, I guess, in one night.
yeah, I think I did. I think I just sat and read it all in one go, and I was meant to be working
Nice.
too, and I didn't work. I just read Rachel Harrison's. Yeah, I love that one. Sunshine Teeth does it has quite a thriller vibe too. Like she's trying to figure out what happened to her.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is romance. But it does like it has horror and it has the nice thing about werewolf books where you get the transformation horror and you
Mm,
get the kind of going out on a rampage sort of horror. So you'll get
nice.
some horror in there, but I would say it's pretty mild as far as the horror goes,
Yeah.
I
I
think.
mean, I've read now. This is my third one. The first one I read was The Return, and I really enjoyed that one. And then I read Black Sheep, and that's so far my favorite from the two, which is funny because that one has kind of comedy. But I really liked Black Sheep. And let's see about this one. I don't know because I'm interested about the werewolf story, especially you don't see so many books that focus on the transformation of a female character into a werewolf. It's mostly male characters in the majority of the books. And I know that she returns to her hometown because her sister is pregnant and she wants to help her, whatever. Because I think the baby daddy skedaddled out of town or something. I don't know. He's gone out of the picture. So that's all I know. And that she has an accident with a car. And I guess after that is when she notices something's wrong with her. So I'm really like interested in the story, and I hope it's gonna be one of those like horror combined with a little bit of feminist take on werewolves or
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
So if the horror is a little bit mild, I don't care so much. As long as it's interesting, and a movie can also be thrilling. It doesn't have to be scary because I just
Hmm.
watched Companion, and I love that
Yeah.
movie so much. And more than horror and scares and stuff like that, it's more like the thrill and the tension of the movie. That's the kind of like the horror part of it. So yeah, as long as it has that, I think we're gonna be good.
Yeah, I think what Rachel Harrison does really well is like real women in
Yeah,
situation like Bad Dolls. That's what the whole thing is about,
yeah,
right? But and like even Black Sheep, I
yeah.
think
It's
Black Sheep
fantastic.
made.
I
I mean,
loved it.
it could be. It's very high up my list of her books. I don't know whether it's my favorite one, but it's one of. It's like a normal person who is
Yeah,
in a really wild situation. I think she does that really well. Like, what would happen in your life if this one supernatural crazy thing happened? Like, I think she's
yeah,
really good at that. I don't really see anybody else doing that in the same way. Like, really relatable. Like, these are like people you could know, or it could
yeah,
happen to you. Like what would you do? And there is funny stuff. I won't spoil it for you, but there's funny stuff about the logistics of being a woman who is a werewolf. Like
yeah. Fair.
yeah, it's and it is yeah, it's a completely different angle than like
Yeah,
I don't know. In YA books, it's always like it's somebody distant, so it isn't Bella, it's Jacob, so you don't know
yeah,
about the transformation side of it. And
yeah.
even if it is the main character, it's kind of a different vibe. It's like I don't really know who I am yet because I'm a teenager and I'm also turning into a werewolf. But this is like I'm a
Mm,
woman who already has a life and
hmm.
has already decided who I am, and then I've got to figure out this whole other side of me. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's good. It's a different angle, definitely. Sorry, I've left Caroline's angle up, and then I saw Grady Hendrix and just went, "Whoo!" 20-minute
On a tangent.
conversation. Um, Grady Hendrix can send me off on a tangent like a few other things. You've read Let's Flop as well, haven't you, Kasha? Did you
Yeah.
enjoy it?
Yeah, I really did. I think I gave it a 4 or a 4.5, so I did, and I'm excited for the sequel actually.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see because I think when I think of the YA slasher thriller type books that I like, normally they don't get sequels. So it'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see with that because like Sue Warman's books and Catherine Foxfield's, I know one
Mhm.
of Cynthia's now has a prequel, but like Cynthia Murphy's books generally, um, like even the prequel, which I've read, sorry, anybody who really wants to read it, it could stand alone.
Yeah.
So it reads like a prequel, but also it's kind of like a standalone thriller. So I'll be interested to see what he and what Scholastic do with that. I think that'll be
Yeah.
cool. Hello, Ellie.
Hello,
They are
hello.
absolutely
Yeah.
lethal. And I follow
Yeah.
so many authors on social media now. Authors are just
Mm.
posting all the time about these offers. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you say? And then I go and buy one book and there are 5 others that I want. And I
Yeah.
think, well, I've still spent less than the price for books. So I'm just going to get 6 books. That's fine.
Exactly.
Oh, amazing. Have you been to it before, Stephen? Because I want to say it's my first time. I don't know. My mum reckons I've been. I can't remember
Mm.
it. So it's my first time in my living memory of going to Centre Parks. And
Ah,
I haven't heard of that, Ellie. That sounds
no, me
interesting.
neither.
It sounds kind of witchy, maybe. Like, I don't know, human power. Maybe I'm just thinking Grady Hendrix witches. So read more, Ellie. If you liked that, I feel like that is
Yeah.
quite a linchpin book for me. I think a lot of his other books have vibes of that one. Like the kind of everyday people thrust into
Mm.
extraordinary circumstances thing. Like I think How to Sell a Haunted House is somewhere in that way, and so it's Final Girls support group less so. But yeah, I think you'll enjoy others if you've enjoyed that one. I probably need to reread actually Southern Book Club's Guide. It's like a long time. I've read My Best Friend's Exorcism twice, I think, so maybe I'm due a reread of that one. So I think it might be time to do a sprint. I can't wait to hear what you
Oh,
think of Such Sharp Teeth.
I don't know. I'm gonna start it today, so I don't know.
I feel like I can't remember how fast it gets into it. I think it's pretty quick,
Uh,
actually. I think like what you were describing is literally the beginning of the book. So
yeah, that's just a synopsis I got from Goodreads, so that's all I know.
yeah, it's
And it's
interesting. Sometimes I
yeah,
don't want to read the synopsis, but for that one,
yeah.
I don't think it spoils too much.
Yeah, normally depends what I need the synopsis for, but because I do like TBR videos of what I'm about to read, or because I'm doing a themed reading blog where I read horror romance books, I introduced in the vlog the books that I'm going to be reading. So I need to tell people what they're about a little bit. So I won't read many of like the people's ratings or anything like that, but at least I need to read the synopses. And sometimes I find that the way I would describe books are so different from the synopses. Like sometimes I don't think it makes much sense the way that they pitch books sometimes.
It's interesting because I think publishers, there's different like phases. Like even since my first
Mm,
book came out, I've seen that books are now being pitched completely differently than when I started
like the
out.
style
And it's
changes, the
yeah, and I think
wording,
that
or
now the publicity blurb seems to always be something meets something. So it'll be like Good Girl's
yeah,
Guide to Murder meets
yeah,
whatever else is the new big thing. And sometimes those are super inaccurate. And I think it's because publishers are trying to latch on to the big thing. But I'd rather it would be accurate than the big
yeah.
thing. Like choose something a bit more
Or
obscure,
they're
but
grasping at straws, they're looking for something they can compare it to, even
yeah,
though it's not exactly the same. And that is misleading sometimes for the reader because they're going with certain expectations, which can be dangerous if it doesn't meet the expectation. Because if you tell me something is like this and then it's nothing like it, somehow it might be a detriment to my reading experience, and it has
this
nothing
is
to do with
it.
the book or the writing style, or maybe if I
Exactly.
wouldn't have known that, I would have loved it more. It's something in the brain that gets ready for that and then it doesn't happen.
There's two
Yeah,
things that make me really like het up when stuff's described as being like them. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and
yeah.
Scream. If anything is like Buffy or Scream and then
Mm.
isn't like them at all, I'm always really disappointed because I'm always craving the new Buffy or the new Scream.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever really found it. Although we did rewatch Urban Legend the other night and I was like, oh man,
uh,
Urban Legend is good. Like
I watched
every
that in the
time I watch it.
cinema when it came out.
Oh, so I think I was see in the UK, I think I was like 14 or 15 when it came out, and I didn't look old enough to
Ah,
go and see it at the cinema, and it was an 18 in the UK. Um, so I didn't see it until it came out on video, like, and it would have been probably a couple of years later. But yeah, I'd say it's in probably my top 3 slashers, maybe.
I should
Like,
rewatch it. It's the movie where Jared Leto says he's not in there.
yeah, I know. You told me that, and that is so funny. Like, I just love the fact that he
Yeah,
disavows.
he's just like, no, I'm not there.
It's a very not him part. Like, I mean, he is one of the suspects of the murder.
I
Like, because
haven't
I
watched
think,
it in so long, like I don't
yeah, I
even
mean,
remember.
it's one of those really cool things that everybody's a suspect, right? So he is one of the
Yeah.
suspects, but apart from that, it's a very like kind of straight laced and like I don't like saying normal, but it is just like an everyday guy part, whereas he normally
Yeah.
plays kind of weirder and wilder characters, I guess. So
Yeah.
maybe he's just like, no, I wasn't in a teen generic slasher, like how dare you. But it's a good slasher, like it's really good. I love the myth thing. I mean, as we were watching it, Kev was like, killing is based on myth, you say? I don't know anybody who's written a book like that. And I was like, yes, I'm sure I did probably subconsciously get that from this movie. And yeah, I've always loved that. I think that the cast are really good in it. I love the fact that there's really big character, like big actors, and then they just get killed off. Like,
Yeah.
it's really ruthless.
I
And
should
they're
rewatch
like,
it.
yeah, do. I've watched the second one as well, like almost straight after it, and the second one is not as good, but it's still worth watching. It's good fun, but it's not as good as the first film. And we're gonna try and watch the third one, although I've heard that is really not good. So we'll see whether,
Normally, they tend to get worse with those types of
yeah,
franchises
yeah,
because
I think
nobody
so.
even knows that the third one exists. Most people don't even know these
Yeah,
movies exist. They only know the first one, which is not. It's already not a good sign.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think I only heard there was a third one because Sharon told me about it, and then the next best said, but it isn't very good. And I was like, I kind of want to complete it anyway. It's called Bloody Mary though, so I'm wondering if it just goes down the Bloody Mary route.
Ah,
I like the fact that the others have got different urban legends in them, and the thing is, I know the Bloody Mary legend really well, whereas I like the fact that the other films had some legends that I'd not heard of. That was the best thing about the
yeah.
second film. Actually, they'd kind of gone for some more obscure urban
Mm,
legends that I wasn't familiar with. So even if some of the film was a bit cheesy or a bit, everyday, horror, the urban legends part was still good.
mm.
Let's see. So it's an arc.
Ah,
Any human power.
oh, 600
See,
pages. Wow.
you're with me until you said 600 pages in politics, and I'm just not sure now, Ellie. Like magical realism, I was like, good title. Let us
Yeah.
know. Let us know in the sprint. Yes,
Yeah.
that's my other problem. So,
Yeah.
have you watched the Josh Hartnett film? What is it called? I've totally
Trap?
forgotten his. Yes, yeah. Have you watched it?
Yeah, yeah, cinema, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you would have done. So I don't know whether we've talked about this, but I was kind of sad that the trailer just gave away. I mean, I enjoyed the
Mm,
film a lot, but I feel like there were some good reveals in it, but I think the best reveal was in the trailer. Like,
the thing is, um, that happened so early on that I
yeah,
don't think it's too bad.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Um, like it happens like in the first 10, 15 minutes. He already
Yeah,
gets the call. He
yeah,
already knows. He already looks suspicious from the beginning when he starts seeing
yeah.
things, cameras and all the police and whatever. But there are other movies where I think it is a big disservice, like Companion. I luckily did not watch the trailer before watching the movie, but I knew the first plot twist that comes 15 minutes into the movie. When I finished the movie, the next day I watched the trailer and they revealed everything.
Oh
Like
man,
the kills
okay.
are in the trailer,
Wow.
like and flashes to images of things that are important for the movie that are like plot twists. And I'm like, why do you do this? Like, and I feel bad for the people that watched the whole trailer and then went to the movie because you might still enjoy it and have fun, but you don't have to spoil everything. Like the trailer spoils how certain people die, and I'm like, why would you do that?
I
Like,
think it's the same as publishers. They really want people to read it and they're doing their
yeah,
best to give this book or this film like the best chance it can, but it's a really fine balance, isn't it, of how
yeah,
much I just did it by talking generalities with mine, like gave a flavor that people are going to be killed, like alluding to which way that they might be killed.
mm,
But kind of try and leave it open because you want people to know what they're getting. Like I don't like it feeling cheated. Like I like we said, I don't like being
mm.
misled by a blurb, but I also don't want to have read the blurb and then be like, oh yeah, that was the whole film or the whole book.
Like I much rather have teasers and not like 1 minute and a half trailers that go through everything that happens in the whole
Yeah,
movie, and you're like, what's the point now? You want, of course, to get people interested. And if there's a plot twist in the first 15 minutes and you want to include that, fair game, because it's in the first 15 minutes. So I
yeah.
don't think it's such a big deal, even though it still won't have the same impact for the viewer as of somebody that doesn't know. But stop revealing everything that comes afterwards because it's just like it's so upsetting and disappointing for people then to realize that the best parts of the movie were already shown. in the trailer. Of maybe you have really cool looking kills, but you don't have to include them in the trailer. Yeah, but
No, like
yeah.
maybe I know some horror films like they include a flash, don't they? As if you're seeing
Yeah.
just like a kind of almost like somebody blinking and then it's gone. Like I think things like that aren't too bad. But yeah, if they are showing extended scenes, it's not helpful to anybody. Yeah, it might make some people watch it, but they're just going to feel disappointed. So ran over. When the Moon Hatched is one that I keep seeing on social media. Is it
Yeah.
a fantasy? It looks very
I think
pretty.
so, because I think Gavin read it in one of his reading
Oh, okay.
vlogs not long ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because he reads a lot of fantasy, so I always like to listen to his thoughts because I know I'm not gonna read it.
Yeah,
Because
I
I don't
mean,
read much fantasy. I
I
don't have the
probably
time.
read I probably read like one fantasy book a year, and it's usually because it's like written by
Yeah.
somebody I know, or it's got some angle to it, like it's got vampires in it or something, say that will keep me going.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, Caroline. I
Uh,
think I don't know whether it's you that I saw it posted about in sub or had we mentioned it on the sprint or something? Because somebody has subliminally
I'll
like
see if
got me
we have
wanting
it
to watch that.
available somewhere here, and then I'll watch it this weekend. Because I don't think I
Yeah,
have the DVD of that one, or maybe I do.
yeah, I have the DVD in the
I'll
garage, but
search.
it's too far. It's like a whole like 10 pace out of my door. So I just watched it on Netflix. Oh, Stephen, I need some
Uh,
hints from you. Let me know if there's anything that I need to know because I've never been as an adult and I feel like there'll be some
mm,
pitfalls. Like I'm already realizing the activities are really expensive, but we're gonna do them anyway.
mhm.
Um, that's the only thing where I booked and I was like, this price is actually pretty good for Center Parcs. And then I looked at how much the other things cost to do, and I'm like, oh, so I thought
Yeah,
it was going to be cheap, but actually it's not going to be a
it's a
cheap
trap.
weekend. Ah, I'm so glad you're
Mm,
loving it. I've only seen good things about that book, and I'm
yeah.
guessing it's probably not one that I would love. But Lily, if you want to convince me, then go right ahead. Try and convince me and Kasha to read it.
I've also
We,
heard so much about The Will of the Many. I've been really tempted to pick it up.
okay, who's that by?
I don't know the author's name, but everybody reads that book. Gavin also read it. Kayla read it. Like everybody
Okay.
has been talking about it, and I'm like, should I pick it up?
Sometimes you do. You want to get on the bandwagon, don't you? I always buy these books. So I've bought Quicksilver. I've bought
Oh yeah, I've
a lot
seen
of the
that
other
one
big
too, and I'm like,
books.
why would I buy it? It's not really my cup of tea, but
I
I'm
don't.
also intrigued. I
I
want to know more.
know. I've bought Fourth Wing. I never read them though. I've bought Powerless.
Wow.
Literally, these viral books, they get me every time. I
Hmm.
buy them and I don't read them and they just sit
Sometimes I
there.
buy them if they're really cheap, and the problem, you know what the problem is? I go to the Kindle thing on Amazon, and then if I see a book that I kept seeing everywhere for like 99 cents or like P or whatever, I'm like, for that price, I'm willing to give it a chance, even if it's romance or something I don't read. And the problem is that takes me to another page with other recommendations of similar ebooks that are also 99p, and then I keep buying them. And then by
And
the
then you
time I
don't read any
finish,
of them.
I'm like, oops.
Yeah, I
And they'll
know.
end
And they're
up
just
here,
all
and
sat
then I'm
there.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, see, people tell me this, Ellie, and
Ooh.
I do want to read it, but I just feel I buy it, but knowing in my heart of hearts, it's probably not for me. But I'm gonna
Mm,
try. I will try. At some point, I might do like a pick up all the viral books and read the first chapters of all of them and
yeah.
react to the video and like
That'll be fun. Yeah.
show my face as I'm reading Fourth Wing and going, I don't understand this fantasy word. I need a fantasy dictionary. You know all those memes where people like sit there and it's like the blah 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 went to the blah 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 and
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
how I feel when I read
Well,
fantasy
what I know
generally.
about that fourth wing is that it has a lot of, I think it's dragons' names. Is it in Gaelic or I don't know? Like
Yeah,
it has dragon names in a different like language, and people have like people struggle to pronounce them.
yeah. There's
That's all
gonna
I
get
know.
it, and maybe I'll read it and I'll get a whole lot of social media content out of it. Maybe I
Yes.
need to. I think I'm gonna stack all these books up at some point and say I bought all these books. Which one should
Yes,
I
just be
read?
like TikTok made me buy it.
Yeah, I know. Like it'd be really
Yeah,
embarrassing though, because if I actually stack up all of the viral books that TikTok's made me buy, it will probably be
but
enough
it'll
to
be
fill a
fun.
room. Yeah, I know.
True,
I'm just
true.
gonna shame myself into my having no ability to control.
Oh,
Caroline, welcome to the club. Yeah,
I
I
resisted, but I've been tempted as
honest.
well when it came out because it was so popular, but I've resisted this far, mostly because I rarely read fantasy. So I know it makes no sense for me to pick it up. Like I can still get it in the future if I want to, but why would I pick it up now? I have so many unread books, and I'm not going to pick a fantasy anytime soon, I think. So logistically,
I know. I mean,
it doesn't
generally,
make sense.
all I want to read at the minute is adult horror. Like, I keep getting
Mm.
emails about reading YA, and I'm accepting them, but
Ah.
I'm also thinking, like, at the moment, I'm not really
Mm.
wanting to read as much YA for some reason. Like, I've got for this month, I think about 8 books stacked up, and one of them is a YA book, and it's a
I
Buffy
have
YA book.
I have a couple this month of YA books. I think, and last month I read 2 YA books. No, 3 actually. They were mystery thrillers, but only 2 I really enjoyed, and another one I thought it was just very repetitive and not for me. But I do enjoy, YA books as a in between mix. I like to have a balance between adult and YA most months. Also, because I have so many in my
Mm,
Kindle and physical, and I want to get through most of the physical ones because if it's just an okay read, I might unhaul it
yeah.
and let it go. Because I think I keep more adult horrors physical than YAs. Because I think there's not so many YAs I would reread over and over again, whilst there's more adults that I would reread in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a few months I've just been having a real like adult horror like craving and I'm just leaning into
Mm,
it. And I know that YA is still there and it's probably still my favorite, but
yeah.
I'm just having like a little detour for a while. I don't know. Anyway, I think we should do a
Nice.
sprint. I think that I
Yes.
should do some editing before I get to. I really want to edit like a good chunk tonight. Because I'm really sleepy. I don't want to do that too late because I could just be accepting things and like making edits that make no sense. And
Yeah,
we
you
don't
have to
want to
be
do that.
focused for that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Also, yeah, because I'm at the stage where I could just like accept or reject stuff. And today
I
I was
see.
getting tired and I found myself just hitting accept. And I was like, no, I've actually got to read this edit before I accept it. Because sometimes, like, I agree, but then I want to edit the edit and I need to just make
Yeah.
sure that I actually read it and don't just assume that it's exactly how I would say it because it's how somebody else would say it. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily
Like you
me.
you agree with the change, but not the wording per se.
Yeah, exactly. And like one of my characters in particular has got a really distinctive voice in this book, so
Hmm.
I've got to like really make sure that any changes still sound like this character.
Yeah.
It'll make sense when you read it, hopefully. Um,
Yes. Yes.
but
Yes.
yeah, which hopefully
Excited.
won't be too long at some point. I'm going to be sending this book out there. Right.
Scary.
Okay. I'm going to put the timer on and
Yes.
I'll see you all in 40 minutes. I might make a cup of tea and then I'm going to do some work. So I'll see you in a little bit.
See you.
Hello. I wasn't quite ready then. It
Yeah.
meowed on me when I was mid-edit, and I was like, oh no, I can't copy and paste something. I'll have just lost it. Oh, how did you get on?
Oh, good. I read almost 10%, which is fine because I was also grabbing some DVDs because I found Urban Legend.
Yay!
I actually
Amazing.
found it. So I think I'm gonna watch this one this weekend. I'm gonna force my partner to watch it.
Well, let me know
And
what you think of it.
in thinking about sequels, I thought that I Know What You Did Last Summer. I still Know What You Did Last Summer, but I don't know if you guys know, there is another movie.
I did know. I have not
It's
seen
called
it.
I Always Know What You Did Last Summer.
I mean,
And it looks
I
very bad.
yeah, I thought the second one was pretty bad. So
Yeah, it was
I
not as good.
yeah, I didn't watch
But I
the
do
third
have
one.
three.
It's the cast, right? I would say hot take. I don't think I Know What You Did Last Summer is the best slasher. However, I think it is the best
Yeah.
slasher cast. Like I think that they are
Yeah, it's solid.
excellent, and
Yeah.
there are some really good sequences in it. Like I won't say too much, but Sarah Michelle
Yeah.
Gellar when she's being chased, it's like
Yeah.
excellent.
I mean, I don't know
Um,
if you can see, but look at this cover. I mean,
it
this
does
is
look like
the third
I made it
one.
on Canva, and I'm not very
Yeah.
good at Canva.
Yeah. It looks so bad. But I think I found it somewhere for very cheap and I was like, you know what? I'll just I'll just get it.
Just
But I'm
have the
excited for
collection.
this.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that is good.
Yeah.
It's kind of with watching the bad sequels, I think sometimes. Like Kevin and I really
Yeah.
liked Wrong Turn back in the day. It was one that
Oh
we
yeah, I
saw at
have
the
all of them. I have
cinema.
all six of them. There's six.
Yeah, I mean, and then we
Yeah.
watched a couple of the sequels, and I think we got to about three, and we were like, actually, no, let's just stop now. Same with Paranormal Activity. I think I got to about three, and I was like, I
I also
actually,
have all of them. I think I have
how many?
five
Yeah, I
here.
didn't realize there were that many. That's crazy.
I think there's more that I don't have, but I have those on Blu-ray because I also wanted to like binge them someday. I do like the Wrong Turn movies, but they're not for everybody because they start to get more and more disturbing as you go,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, the
But
first
yeah,
one was fairly light. It's the kind of trope of I don't
yeah,
even know a nice way of saying the family that
yeah, inbreeds.
I can't even think like what, yeah, that I mean, that's the only way to say it really, isn't
Toxic
it?
inbreeds.
Yes, that's precisely what it is. And
Yes.
Faith, am I right in thinking that is it
Yeah,
Eliza Dushku and Desmond Harrington in the first one?
yeah, she's in the first one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So like again, really good cast. I think that if you get a really good actor in a slasher that is decent
it
anyway,
helps.
like
Yeah,
yeah, because slashers can turn really cheesy fast if the acting's bad, which I think like Urban Legend 2, one good thing that it really good thing, it had like horror movies within the horror movie because they're film students. So sometimes you think you're watching a really bad scene of the actual film, but it's actually just the cast pretending to be in a horror film.
mm,
And I quite like that because it kind of made fun of like their own acting, basically. Um, yeah, I want to know what you think of Urban Legend. I'll be interested. So I got quite a bit of editing done. I'm at a bit that's fairly light on edits, which is good because pressing accept was as much as my brain could cope with tonight. So I think in the next sprint, I need to just finish this chapter and then I'm going to book some Center Parks activities with Kev.
oh, nice.
Um, I mean, not for us, for Tiny Person, because I feel like I'd be really sad if he gets there and he goes, Mummy, I want to do archery. And it's like, oh, it's all booked up.
Mm,
So I'm going to book the stuff in advance that I think he'll like. And that I want to watch him do basically. It's called like mini archery and they do like
oh,
mini aerials and stuff. So the adult one is like up in the trees and then the kids one for toddlers is a meter off the ground. I'm like, I think I'm
mm.
more the toddler level actually, so I'm fine with that. It's good doing toddler
Fun.
activities. I actually feel like I'm
Mm.
skilled at stuff because I'm doing it at the level of a 4-year-old, so I can win and
Yeah,
stuff.
but you know, sometimes those are the best ones. I went once here. There is a like an alpaca place, like where they have like a
Ah,
reserve, and then you can either book to feed them and have breakfast with them, or what we did is we went on a walk with them. So basically,
ah.
it's like small groups of people, and they give you like an explanation video on how to handle the alpacas because they have a temper. And so and then they give you one alpaca per person, like with it's like tied up, of course, so you can just carry it with you, and they just walk next to you. and you go on a walk through the fields and stuff, and then you come back and you can take pictures with them, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really simple, but it's like outside, and I love animals, and alpacas are so much fun.
Well, they've got such personalities, haven't they? They're one of our favorite
Yes.
animals. The little farm we go to has them just as you walk in. So it's the first animal that you feed. And generally we stand and give like 80%
Yes.
of the food to them just because they're so funny and like
They're
they
also very
spit if
stubborn. They're very
yeah,
stubborn.
like
Yeah.
they start the two older ones start spitting if you don't feed them fast enough. Like Nathan's going, look, mummy, the babies, I want to feed the babies, and the adult ones like will butt their own babies out the way to yeah, and just spit. And I've seen us like slow kids getting spat on the head. Like, I mean,
They're
once Nathan
ruthless.
got a cow, once he was stroking these really beautiful cows, and one leant over and gave him the biggest lick, like right down his head. That was pretty
Oh
funny.
no.
But we've
I
not had alpaca spit.
I don't think they explained to us you're not supposed to pet them in the head. I think it's only on the back of the back, like really on the bottom. That's
Yeah,
what they like. But I think you're not supposed to touch the, like, they give us instructions, obviously,
yeah.
to avoid being bitten or spat at. But they also told us that when they spit, it's only grass and saliva, so it's not anything that it's dangerous or gonna
Yeah.
give you an infection, or it's
No.
nothing weird. But yeah, but it's fun. They're very funny
Yeah.
animals.
I love going to farms in general. Like we went because we saw on the social media for the farm they were showing these baby goats and they were letting people hold
Oh,
them. So I've got a lovely I'll have to send you. I've got a lovely picture of a little boy with a
oh,
tiny newborn goat in his arms and he looks just so delighted with the
so
whole
cute.
situation. The problem is
Yeah.
I don't get to hold them anymore. Like I have to stand and be the mummy and like watch him have
Oh,
all the fun. Generally
rude.
though, at the end I'm like, I know I'm not a child, but can I hold the baby? And they're like, yes, yes,
Of
you
course.
hold the baby. Yeah, I love it. I
Nice.
love there's something about being around animals and being in nature, I think, is the way to reset. Like if you feel terrible,
Yeah.
like go and walk an alpaca or cuddle a goat and you're just gonna feel better.
Yeah, for real. It's nice. I want to go back at some point because I mean, it's doing the same thing, but I just like to be with the animals. They give me a an alpaca called Shadow that was black almost, and I'm like, that's
Oh
nice.
wow. Yeah,
And
that
my
suits
my
you.
my boyfriend got a white one called Casper,
Amazing.
and I was like, this is so fitting. I'm here for it.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
like they knew you. We
Yeah.
went horse riding in New Mexico and it was like the sun was setting and they gave us these beautiful horses and I got one called Midnight and they were like, "Oh, by the way, your
Oh.
horse is a film star. It had been in the Lone
Oh.
Ranger film with Johnny Depp." And I was like,
Oh.
"I get the film star horse." And it was black and shiny and beautiful. And they
Nice.
gave Kev this stallion that was
Oh.
really feisty and like basically took him for a walk and like wouldn't do anything it was told and just wanted to be like the alpha male. And you know what Kev's like? He's so like big and
Nice.
gentle, and I think they thought, oh, he's tall, he'll be able to handle a big horse, and it was like, no.
Nice.
What's that? Oh yeah, I think I might have done. Yeah, I stole that scene and put it in Mina and the Cult, but nobody got like carried away by the horse, I don't think. But yeah, oh yeah, I just my whole real life. You know, when books say like this is doesn't like resemble any real people or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry, but it's me and Kev. Like a lot of the nice like couple things, even if they're on a cult, like they're going for a nice
Yeah.
horseback ride. Like the nice horseback ride is the thing that we did. We weren't at. It was a very
Nice.
nice ranch that we were on, not a cult, as far as I know.
Mm.
Um,
As far as you know, exactly.
yeah, I mean, so what do you think? I didn't actually ask you. What do you think? I know the first 10% is not easy to
Yes.
go on, but what do you
No,
think so
it's
far?
like basically everything has already happened. So I am excited, I guess, to see what's to come, because in the first 10%, like the book already opens up with her in the bar leaving. And I thought, the book was going to open up with her traveling back home or something to her sister, like more slow paced. And she already has the accident and everything, and you can already tell what's going on. Like, obviously, also the cover is a giveaway. The
Yeah,
cover
I
of the
mean, the
book.
title, the
I mean,
cover, the
I mean,
blurb, yeah.
um, but you already know that what she has encountered on the road is a werewolf. But you don't know what happened to her overnight, but you kind of know because she just woke up and she's hungry, but food tastes awful. So you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, you just have to put two and two together. So,
See,
it's like,
that's what I think. That's the kind of reveal that I think is fun. Like you and I maybe
yeah.
wouldn't have picked that book up if it didn't say werewolves like all over it in every way.
Mm,
That is what's drawn us in, isn't it? Right. So, but it hasn't given anything away apart from that central premise, which is what
yeah.
attracted us to it. Whereas if it had told you like everything that's going to happen to her, it would ruin it. But I think that it's hard to know the point at which you stop ruining it. I think that's the
Yeah.
right amount.
But
That
also,
got you,
like,
didn't it?
yeah, but like, they don't confirm that it's a werewolf. They
Yeah.
just say it's an animal with fur, with like red eyes, whatever, but they don't confirm. You also
No.
don't know what happened to her overnight, what was done to her, not done to her, um how she got infected, if she got infected. But the author is slowly letting you know something's wrong with her, because obviously she had a nap and she had a nightmare that involved the fur. Like, it's normal, your brain picks the things that you remember
Mm.
last and puts together a nightmare. But after that, with the food and everything, it's like the author is showing you, not telling you what's going on. And I much rather have that than if she would have been like, so she encountered a werewolf and the werewolf
Yeah, I
did
know.
this and this to her, and now she's waking up and she has nightmares because she was bitten, and because this, like, like, it's not on your face. Like, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I like the way that it's being done. So
Yeah,
yeah.
precisely. I mean, it feels real. And I know that maybe you or I would jump quicker to werewolf in real
Yeah.
life than some people might. But like in real life, if you got bitten, like Kev got bitten by a dog once, and we didn't think werewolf, he's gonna turn into like
Yeah.
we rang the police and got his leg checked out and the rest of it. But
Yeah.
I didn't think werewolf. So I think in real, like Rachel Harrison makes it seem like real life really
Yeah.
well. Like this is how a real woman would react.
Yeah, she's also
Um,
telling herself subconsciously that it was a bear. I mean, she has to, for the police, obviously, because
yeah,
if she says what she thinks she has seen, um, then they're gonna think that she's crazy, obviously. So I think because she had to lie to the police, she's like, yeah, it was probably
cool.
just, a bear, another regular animal. I'm just, like she said, maybe somebody spiked my beer. Like, she's looking for
Yeah,
excuses of why this is not possible. Like, this is a figment of my imagination. Like, bear, or somebody put something on my drink. I'm imagining things. Like,
yeah.
she's kind of like putting herself off from the idea. So yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
And the problem is, when you get to a certain time of month, if you're a werewolf,
Yeah.
stuff's gonna happen.
Boo.
So and
Full moon,
I love
anyone?
that yeah, I love that feeling. I've never been as interested in werewolves until I read that book, and
Oh,
it did make me think that logistically it's interesting because like when you turn into a vampire, you're instantly a vampire, or there's a
yeah.
short
Well,
period and then you're a
depends on the
vampire.
book
Yeah.
or the
But
story.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So generally you've been bitten and you swap blood, so you
Yeah.
kind of you sort of know what's happening, and it takes an hour, it takes a day. But like with a werewolf, they don't know until the next full moon. So somebody could be going on about their
Hmm.
life and then,
Yeah.
and then the
And
full
then
moon,
boom.
like they rip their family to shreds, possibly.
Fantastic.
Um, yeah, so that's the interesting thing about werewolves that I'd never given them credit as supernatural creature because I was like, they're not a werewolf for most of the month. Like that's not a hardcore supernatural creature, but actually it's interesting that they're so violent and so animalistic. I think I would
Mm.
like to write. I did write a werewolf short story for the Lurking
Mm.
in the Dark
Hmm.
anthology, and that made me think as well. Ooh, I quite like these creatures that I didn't think I was interested in at all.
I need to read the sequel of Bite Risk. I don't know if you read Bite Risk. It's a YA
Yes,
book.
yeah, I really liked it. I've
And I
got the
like and
sequel
I
as
like
well, but
because I like the concept. Like, you're a teenager, and as soon as you turn into an adult, you're a
yes,
werewolf, and it's like,
yeah,
fuck. Like,
yeah,
you know
exactly.
in advance, and it's
Yeah,
very interesting. Yeah.
it sets it up beautifully, like the town. It very quickly alerts you to this fact, but I love how
Yeah.
the suspense just builds all the way through and like layers a peel back of like these kids' lives, what they're like. And yeah, I'm
Mm.
really excited. I got the sequel, but I haven't, in typical
Yeah, I
fashion,
also
not
have it, but
read
I
it yet.
haven't read it.
And
Story of my
Sophie's
life.
really lovely. She wrote I can't remember what it's called. The Orphans of St. Halibut's or something like that. Like it was more like a lower middle grade
Mm.
kind of comedy book before, and I think there were a couple of those in that series. And then she just seems to have like really got into like a whole new area of fiction that I'm really excited about. Like, kids' books, obviously. I feel like they're more for kids. Like I read some middle grade if it's spooky middle grade, but as soon as it's like teen horror, I'm like, yes, okay, I can read these. This is
Yeah,
where
I'm
I want
gonna
to
be
be.
reading very soon the Point Shiver books because there's 4 out. I just got the 4th one on the mail today because it just came out this month.
Oh,
And
what are those then?
let me see. Hold on, cat.
I don't think
I think you know them. Hold
I
on,
probably do. Just remind me. I've got my phone poised to
cat.
look it up.
Shiver Point, the other way around.
Oh yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, I've
So
got
this is the
the
4th one that just came out this month. So now I have 4, and I think I'm gonna do a reading blog reading the 4 of them and talking about them because I think they sound like great middle grade books.
yeah.
So,
I really liked the first one. I thought it was really good, but I thought the second one was amazing. And
oh,
I haven't read the third one yet. I
the
didn't
third
know
one
the
is a
fourth one.
Scarecrow, I think. Yeah, this just came
Oh no,
out like it was just delivered today. I had it on pre-order. It was just delivered today. So,
okay, no. It's the Scarecrow one I've read then. So maybe I've read 3 of them. Yeah, I thought the
oh,
Scarecrow one was really good.
now I don't know which one is 2 or 3. Hold on. No, the werewolf maybe is 3. Hold on, because I have it here as well.
I
Yeah,
wonder if I've.
this is the 3. This is the it's a
I mean,
werewolf.
it's possible. Yeah, maybe I've just read 2 of them.
It's called Under a Howling Moon. So this is
Yeah,
3. This
yeah.
is
I think
3.
I've read the first one, which was It Came from the Woods, and then
Yeah,
the
and the
second
second one
one.
was the Scarecrow. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's here on the back. So now I
yeah,
have the 4 that are out. So I want to make a vlog reading the 4 of them and
yeah,
talking about them because I'm really really intrigued about these ones because they sound like they will be middle grade exactly for me. Like they hit the spot right. So
yeah.
I'm really excited for these ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. They're very like updated kind of goosebumps. I've just read a really good
Yeah.
one that you would like that I'm gonna have to look up the title of. I
Oh.
think it's called it's a Jennifer Killett book. It has been announced, so I'm not gonna ruin
Oh.
anything for anybody. I've just read the proof of it, Jennifer Killett, and I think it's like Fright something. Oh no. Oh, what's her
No.
new series? Jennifer Killett new series. Um
I think I have some of her books, but I don't know if I have read them either.
yeah, so I hadn't read the I'm gonna have to look on my Goodreads what it's called. I haven't read the other ones. I have them, but I haven't read them. But the publisher asked me if I wanted to read it, and I was like, "Yeah, it sounds really good," and I loved it. It was really fun.
Mm.
And I'm gonna have to check what it was called because I've just totally lost it. Why can I never? You know, like when I open Goodreads up, I just panic and can't remember how to use it because it's got so many categories. I'm like, I probably
Yep.
need to change at some point.
Yeah, I mean the app is not the best app in the world either. So
No, I mean I'm trying. It says I've read 7 books and I like can't get to them. So 7 books read, but what were they? That is the question. Yeah, they've changed it. So like normally I'd click in there and I could see what my books are. I'm gonna have to send you the name of this at some point. But yeah, so Jennifer Killick's new book that comes out this year, I think. Oh man, it's really annoying me now though. I need to find this name. Jennifer Killick. Fairground.
let me see if
Hmm.
I can find it.
Oh, Serial Chillers. That's what it is. It's the first
Ah.
Serial Chillers book. And the first one is The Witch in the Woods. So it's very much like Blair Witch kind of thing, but for kids.
Let me see if I can find it on Goodreads and I'll put it on
Yeah,
my.
so yeah, it's called Serial Chillers, The Witch in the Woods. And basically
Uh,
it's this town where lots of similar to Gabriel Dillon's book, I guess, where it's like a town where lots of spooky things happen, and they have this local witch legend who supposedly killed loads of people, and these kids decide that they're going to do their town local history project
I
about the
found it.
witch. So yeah, so they go to find this witch in the woods, like see if they can find a house and stuff, as
Ah.
kids do. And yeah, I really liked
Um,
it. It was really good. And some really good, like, like that creepy, suspenseful horror, like where they're hiding in the woods and they don't know what's out
mm.
there and stuff. It's kind of gentle as far as horror goes, because obviously it's for kids, but it's good. It's
Yeah,
good fun.
it's for people that like Goosebumps and Stranger Things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing that I don't like that they do sometimes is like when they put the name of the book, they start doing like a whole description. I don't think you can see it, but
Yeah.
have you seen
I've noticed
what
that.
it does? Now you can see maybe
Yeah.
better. Look at all that long text.
Yeah. On Amazon, people have started putting like I
Jesus.
didn't like it'll say the TikTok sensation and the author of
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. I think one of my books does it actually. Let me see. I'm sure I don't know whether it's the Mina books or the Something's Appeared. I think it might be, I don't know whether it's the publishers that put it on there because it's like
Yeah.
you know when people search like stuff like Amazon is becoming like a search engine as much as anything. Oh, so it isn't
Yeah.
on Mina and the Undead at the minute. At one point I did have like a really long title and it was like
I think
perfect
I
for fans of
remember.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, is it number
Yeah.
3? Let me
I
see.
remember this cover. I'm pretty sure I have it on my list of books that are coming out in 2025.
Oh yes, yeah. So Mina and the Cult says third in the YA series for fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Twilight, and Vampire Academy. Mina and the Undead, and that's
Yeah.
all after Mina and the Cult. And I guess it is. It's like it's because it's searchable stuff. So if people search for
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that'll come up. I guess is
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
logic behind it.
But the
Okay, I think
cover
we
that they
should.
have is really cool. Like, look at this.
Yeah, yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know if you can see purple.
Jennifer Killick.
It
I
better.
think
Yeah.
she's one of the more popular YA horror, YA like middle grade horror authors from the UK, I think. So definitely worth checking out if you're kind of into that
I think I
vibe.
have Grim Goud. It's the one that I have. And Fearground. I think I have her first two of that series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I haven't read them yet. Yeah,
No, I've
Dreadwood.
got
Yeah, yeah,
the
Dreadwood is called.
yeah,
Dreadwood and Fearground. Yeah.
yeah. I've got Dreadwood, but I don't think I've got the others because I just haven't got to reading them yet. I had a point where I thought I was going to
Yeah.
write a middle grade horror. I bought a load of middle grade horrors and then thought I'm going to read them when I actually start writing it, but I haven't started writing it yet. So maybe I think next year I might try and write a middle grade. This year I'm going to write an adult and a YA, I think.
Ooh,
But I'm still editing, so I'm just forever editing. As soon as I start writing a new project, my edits come back and the new project has to go to one side. But because this book's nearly finished, I'm going to be able to write something new soon, hopefully.
exciting.
So the comments have gone quiet. Yes, I'm looking forward to writing something new. Although every time I start writing a book, it's like I've forgotten how to do it and I have to reteach myself because it's been, gosh, I mean, when did I last write a book? Last year was all editing. I don't think I wrote anything
Mm.
last year because I edited Mina and the Cult and all the early edits of Day and the Night. And had like loads of job changes. So I was like figuring out job stuff as well as I know writing books is my job too, but like my day job stuff all kind of changed last year. So it was a weird
All the
year.
jobs we have.
Yeah, Kasha understands. Kasha knows, like,
Yeah.
most people have one job. Me and Kasha have between 2 and 4 jobs at any one time.
Yes.
Okay, let's do a sprint. You tell us
Yeah.
how you're getting on with Rachel Harrison, and
Yeah, I'm gonna keep reading, but I'm also going a bit slower because I'm taking notes so I can talk about it later.
good
And I don't
thinking.
forget.
Yeah, future you will appreciate that.
Yeah, trust me. Future
Yeah,
me loves that when I have to talk about it in the vlog and I'm like,
yeah. Okay,
okay.
Hello. We have just been down a rabbit hole of Centre Park's activities.
Oh, really? You got
Yeah.
everything booked?
Well, no, not booked. We've made a spreadsheet of the
Pre-selected?
activity. Yeah, so we've kind of made a spreadsheet and planned out roughly what we want to do. And it sounds like we're just going to be watching small person do a variety of crazy things like learn to roller skate, go on mini jet
Oh,
skis.
oh, cute.
Um, Everything's just mini jet skis, mini archery, mini off-roaders. So yeah, I think he's going to have a great time. And we're just going to wish that we were small enough to fit in the equipment,
Yeah.
but no. So yeah, that's all
Nice.
I did for 40 minutes done. So how about you? How did you get on with the book?
Good. I got until I think 21% of the book. So I'm still taking notes and I'm really enjoying it because like I love when you have horror books that have other themes and like other things that are important in the book. Like for me, immediately I associated this book with like the female body and female body changes and what we go through and how society makes us hate our bodies. And you get your period, you reach adulthood, hormones, pregnancy, postpartum, like body depression and things. And like I like that it's going deeper into when you feel like you're a stranger in your own body, which it doesn't always happen to only women, of course. Everybody can have that feeling, but I feel like for women is more than for males because of all the hormonal changes that we go through, and all the like different also weight shifts that women they seem to have it more than men. So I feel like and society standards tend to be stronger, like more intense for females than males. So I think I'm liking the book because it's kind of using the werewolf to explain like almost body dysmorphia at times, like when you don't feel like you're at home in your own body,
Mm.
and using it like with the horror, and I like that. So yeah, that's my take on
Good.
the
I'm glad. I
book.
thought it would work for you. I'm glad it's working for you. I like the relationship with her sister too, and like the kind
Yeah,
of family relationships and the relationship she has with other women in the book are interesting. Like kind of coming across people who used to be friends or people who are
yeah,
still her friends and people who were kind of rivals and stuff. Like it's quite interesting dynamics, I think, of characters.
yeah. So I'm enjoying it. So I'm enjoying it more than the other book I read for this vlog. So we'll see where this one goes. Might this be my new favorite? We don't know. Like
Uh,
direct comparison. We don't
do you
know.
know what I find? That one is a very smooth, like easy read. It deals with deep
Mm,
issues and stuff, but the writing is so good that
yeah.
it really flows and it really pulls you through the book. I think like I read again that one really quickly. I think Black Sheep I read a little more slowly, but it was only because it
Mm.
was a bit more intense. Like some of
Yeah,
the
but that one has like a mid tonal change.
yeah,
Like you think you're reading a book and then it just flips on you.
yeah,
So I think that's why maybe the second half is like, oh, okay. And this one, I feel like it's almost like watching a cozy TV show of the
yeah.
typical small town
Hmm.
where everybody knows everybody. But then there's these other things happening to Rory.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
but it feels very much like a small town, regular, cozy, story where people fall in love, where people go to Halloween parties and all of that. But then there's the werewolf thing going on.
Yeah, and there's this ticking clock, isn't there, on her all the
Yeah.
time? Like she's
Yeah.
experiencing changes even between the full moon, but she's also thinking, "Holy crap, full moon! Like what is going to
Yeah.
happen to me?"
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, it's very interesting, definitely. And yeah, I just think she does that really well. So, you haven't read So Thirsty yet, have you?
No, I do have it. I did buy it because I'm like, oh, it's vampires and Rachel Harrison. And the thing is, because it's Rachel Harrison, I automatically know it's not going to be regular vampires. So my expectations are already, you know, set properly, I hope. Because I know the way that she writes about werewolves, or, the return was about a friend that came back after being like disappear for a long time. And Black Sheep is about cults, like growing up in a family that has a very religious cult going on. So like she has all of these topics that from other books and movies and whatever, but she does it in a different way. So I'm not expecting your typical vampire character story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. I'd say in a way it's tonally similar to Such Sharp Teeth because it's like a
Mm.
similar thing happens but to two women. Rather than one. And that isn't a spoiler, I don't think. It kind of says it
Yeah, I think it
pretty
says on the
clearly in the
blurb.
blurb and
Yeah, yeah,
everything.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Um so yeah, but then the way it's dealt with from that point is different. Because I
Mm.
mean, obviously there being two of them makes it different, that it isn't just one woman dealing with this on her own. And the thing with vampires and the way that this book does it is like the vampires are still around. So like you can kind of learn from them. Whereas I think a lot of the werewolf thing is like kind of bite and ditch and then you're left to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it is a bit more like you learn a bit more about their version of vampires and stuff. So yeah, it's similar but different. I would say it's the most similar to Such Sharp Teeth out of them, and I
Mm.
really enjoyed it. It takes a little bit longer to get to the vampires, I think, than Such Sharp
Mhm.
Teeth did. Like it builds up like the girls' relationship, and they go for a weekend away together, and there's quite a lot of that before they meet. And everybody I met, I was like, "Oh, is this the vampire? Oh no, they're not the vampire. Oh, is this the vampire?"
But
So
that sounds
that
similar to The Return, because you meet a group of friends and they go for a weekend getaway together, and it takes a while for the horror to kick in. So it sounds
yeah.
like maybe a mix between the two.
Yeah, I need to read The Return, but it's one of those things like it's the last one I've got left. So I'm
Oh, I
like kind of
see.
holding
I
on to
understand.
it.
Yeah. I haven't
Just
read
because
Cackle either, but I have it,
oh
I think, on my
what?
Kindle as well.
You're right, I haven't read that either, and I do have it.
See?
So I have
Now
two
you can pick
left.
one.
Yes.
And
Maybe
you
I'm
still
gonna
have
read
one
them soon.
left.
Yeah, that's why I've held off reading The Return. I totally forgot about I think I forgot about Cackle because people say that one's quite different. I think
Mm,
it is very cozy, where
yeah.
Such Sharp Teeth is mildly cozy, and then when the horror kicks in, there is some proper horror in that too. Whereas I think Cackle is more majority cozy, like less
Mm,
on the horror, which I think works well with witchcraft. Actually, I think
yeah, I think
I quite
so.
like a cozy witch book. I like dark ones too, like The Craft. I'd love to read The Craft as a book. I've only read one book similar to that, The Graces by Law Eve, I
Oh
think she's
yeah, I
called.
read that one. I did like The Wicked Deep, if you've never read it.
No, I haven't read that
That's
actually.
a good one. I like that one.
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna pull that one up.
yeah.
Um,
It's a bit
yeah,
older. I don't,
I've come
but
across
yeah.
it. Like it still turns up on people's TBRs and stuff, and I didn't really know it was
Yeah.
about witches to be honest. Otherwise, I probably would have read it sooner.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting pretty tired, and it's pretty late for you. Do you think you can manage another half an hour?
I think so. I think I'm just gonna keep reading this now that I am on it, because I don't know tomorrow when I start working and stuff. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have, so I'd rather make use of the time I have now to keep reading.
I'm going to give you my own advice that people always give me. Remember, you do need a break as well. And
Yes.
I feel like sometimes I forget that if you don't have a break, you end up working like low level productive all the
Yeah,
time.
that's
Whereas if you
that's
have a
fair.
break, you kind of can up the productivity. So feel free to read some more Rachel Harrison over the weekend, is what I'm saying. If you needed
Yes.
somebody to say that to you, I'm giving you
I
spoken
deserve
as a
my werewolf
person.
book.
Well, spoken as a person who's done the working too hard thing, and I've
Yeah.
realized that I am more productive if I allow myself, like you said, that evening reset. I used to work all day and then go home and work all night.
Ah.
And I'd
Mm.
burn out, like, and then need a few days off. And it's like, well, actually, I could do less productivity in a day, but make it
Mm.
more productive time.
Yeah. I
So
mostly
that's
work
my
until dinner, and then I'm like, okay, with dinner we watch something, then I read a little bit, and then I go to bed, and at least I had a bit of like a couple of hours of just
yeah.
watching something, reading something. So it's not like I work all night. It has happened a couple of times in the past, but it's maybe because somebody asked me for a favor, to do something quick, and I had to,
Mm,
because it was a job, from a friend or whatever, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. But it's really taxing, even if you're just behind your PC or whatever and you're sitting down. But I got backaches, headache. it's also taxing for the body, not just what people think. Oh, it's very easy to work in your office. No.
No, it's so. Do you know what? I am tireder now, or as tired as when I was teaching, probably.
Mm,
Although I was a lot younger when I was teaching. Um,
yeah, it's different.
yeah, and I teach 1 day a week now, and it does absolutely wipe me out. But working at a computer all day, like you said, I feel stiff. My
Yeah,
eyes are so tired. My head's
yeah.
so tired.
Sometimes I have to put drops because my eyes are so dry that they start
Yeah,
to annoy me. Yeah.
yes, it's different. It's harder than I expected it to be. Actually, I thought, oh,
Mm.
working from home all day,
Yeah.
I'm going to be really relaxed, and I'm not
No.
really. I still work at night if I've got deadlines. Like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
deadline
Same.
is, I think I've got 2 weeks left still, just 2 weeks. So I feel like in the last few days I may pull some later nights if I haven't done, but I'm feeling pretty cool at the minute. Like I think I'll be done before then, but
Mm.
I've never beaten a deadline by days and days. I always just make
Just
the
get it.
deadline.
Yeah.
And I rarely have occasionally had to ask for an extension. Once I asked for a week because it was my deadline was the day after Yalk, and I was like, I
Oh
can't,
yeah.
like I can't
That's
work that
horrible
Yalk
too.
weekend. And
Yeah.
so my publisher was at Yelk, so they were like, "Yeah, it's fine. We didn't think of this when we set the deadline. Any of us, did we?" So yeah, occasionally I've asked for a bit of leeway, but generally I'm okay because I'm a person who does the work the whole time. Like I don't cram it in at the last minute. Like
Yeah.
I get the work back and I start immediately, so I'm generally okay. But
That's what I'm doing now. Like I just go either month by month or week by week, and I just plan everything in advance so that I have everything in paper. How many pages I have to translate today? Do I have to edit a video today? And I put everything on paper because if I see it on paper, I feel responsible.
mm,
I feel like I have to do it. And if I don't have it on paper, then I'm like, well, if I don't start it today or finish it, I can do it tomorrow. And when I realize it has piled up, and by the end of the week, I'm struggling. So now I try to really follow my schedule, which is sometimes annoying because sometimes you're not in the mood. But I remind myself, you're going to feel so good when you've done it. And
yeah,
tomorrow you realize you've done it.
I'm taking all this in because I've only been doing the more freelance way. I'm not fully freelance, but I still have some like office type responsibilities. However,
Yeah.
on the freelance type time, I'm starting to work out how much I can do because I tend to be the person who
Yeah.
goes, I'm going to edit 100 pages today, and I know that I can't edit 100
Mm,
pages. I've never done that, and yet I still somehow think I can. So I'm trying to get better at like how much can I actually, and I probably need to sit and time myself. Like how long does it take me to edit 20 pages, say on average, and then because then I
yeah.
think I can. At the moment, I'm not planning my time properly because I don't think I know how long anything takes.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I've had to cram it in between other things, and it's not been a natural job. So now it is part of my job. I'm like my proofreading job, I'm doing about an hour a day, and that seems to cover the work they want me to do, which is fine. And then it's my work that I'm still figuring out, like how much I can.
Mm.
You'd think I know by now how many books, 5 books in. Um,
Well, everything is different, maybe.
it is
Like,
like now I've
yeah.
got a small person at school as well, and I've
Mm.
got a bit more time to do this. So I'm just trying to work out, like, if I sit and do this for 2 hours, how many pages can I edit? I probably just need to time myself and figure it out, and then I
Yeah.
will know.
It's not a bad idea because the better you can like do time management, the better it's gonna be for you. Like I said, sometimes I have on my calendar things and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this today. And then I'm like, push yourself, do it because you're gonna feel so much better when you realize you've been keeping to schedule. And it's true, I'm more relaxed every day because I'm hitting my marks every day. Even though
Yeah,
I'm
I
not feel
haven't.
like it one day for whatever reason, we're all
Yeah.
human. Some days we don't feel like it.
I need to do that better. I'm going to take a leaf out of you, but I do write in my diary every week how much I want to
Yeah.
get done, but I don't think I'm realistic. So I probably need to
Yeah.
work on that.
That's also like counterproductive in a way. If you put too much, then you feel like you're like failing in a way, like subconsciously, and it
Yeah.
also doesn't help.
No. Well, no,
Yeah.
because it is just going to pile up. Like you said, like I
Yeah.
was trying to do social media more than once a day, and it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like I literally have time and energy to do it once a day, and actually probably do it better if I'm doing it once a day. So
Yeah.
and once a day is a big improvement on what I was doing before because at some points it was like weeks go by and I don't do anything.
Yeah,
Once a
that's what
day
I'm doing
seems,
because I don't have a plan for that yet, but I want to start a routine, but I also don't
Yeah.
want to overwhelm myself,
Hmm.
like I want to start a routine and make it easier for me. But I think with that, what happens to me, and I think something that happened to you, I think you told me about it, that you were thinking too much about what you were going to post.
Yeah.
And now you don't think so much about it. And that's my problem. I overthink everything, and then I don't post anything because I'm overthinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
learning. I've got a friend who is really good at social media, and she's grown her account recent, like in the last year, to like over 30,000. And she's telling me like the way she did it. And at first, I just didn't understand what she was telling me. I was like, "What is a hook? Like, what are keywords? Like,
Mm.
I've never
Yeah.
thought about these things." And now I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm not overthinking them because, yeah, like you said, I wouldn't post anything, but I'm just trying to think like, is there an interesting hook to this? Have I used
Mm.
any keywords? Like if I'm talking about a horror book, have I used the words horror book in this post?
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes no, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, I've really enjoyed reading this thing, and it's like a really good thing. And I'm like, horror book, just say horror book, and then people can search for horror book, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting a bit better at doing that, and I am starting to see like my views going up and stuff like that. But
Nice.
I kind of want to see the results that she's got. And she's like, yes, but this took me a year. Like, do what
Yeah,
you're
of
doing for
course.
a year,
Yeah.
and it will work. I'm impatient. I just want it to work now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is though. It is like I was getting on my Instagram account like about 30,000 views a month. And I don't know how that compares to whether that's good or not. But now I'm getting more like 50,000 views. So clearly
Nice.
it's
It's
doing
working.
something, like
Yeah,
it's nearly
slowly but
doubling.
surely.
Yeah. So you can kind of,
Nice.
and like my views on my reels are like they were
Go up.
getting stuck at like the low
Mm.
hundreds range. And now it's more like over the like 1 or 2 thousand views. So
Nice.
what she's telling me to do is helping.
But I think also if you post consistently, it helps as well with the
Yeah,
algorithm.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It helps the algorithm. It helps people like just start to
Yeah.
expect. Like I try and post in an evening just because it seems to be better views and better
Mhm.
engagement for me. So it's finding like a good time of day for you.
For you, yeah.
And batching it. Like if you draft stuff, like if on a good day I've got like 4 things
Yeah.
drafted and I can just hit post at 6 o'clock and I know that
Mhm.
I'm sorted.
Exactly.
I'm a bit behind at the moment, but yeah, when I started this, I was really organized and like batch content, and all my text was written and everything. I know people use AI to write the text and stuff, but I'm not
Oh,
at that
no, I would
stage.
never do that. I think what one of my ideas for getting things done with social media is, I think whenever I plan to record a video for my YouTube channel, because that I always do without a fail, I think I'm just gonna do a quick reel of whatever at the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
time, because
Yeah,
otherwise I'm
perfect.
not gonna do it.
Yeah, so like you've done a video of 10 horror movies that I've seen recently and loved or
Yeah,
whatever. You can do a very quick 10,
yeah,
like, make a Canva or something of the 10 and put them on your Instagram. Or like,
yeah,
if you flash the DVD cases up, can you do a quick 10 in front of your shelf? Yeah,
yeah,
that's a really good idea because then you're kind of not doing much extra work. You've done all the thinking and the preparing
yeah.
the equipment.
Because I wake up with like good intentions, but then I get trapped in work and this and that, and then when I realize it's late, and I'm like, no, I don't have time now. So if
No,
I time it when I do actual recording and I'm already recording things, it doesn't take me that long to just record a couple of extra things, or even if it's just one thing, or take an extra picture and then use that later on.
yeah,
So I think I'm gonna have to start to get used to do that, because yeah,
yeah.
otherwise I just get swamped with work and this and life and whatever, and then I realize the day is gone and I haven't posted anything again.
Yeah, I know. And I stack those things up in my drafts and then I start correlating them to my
Yeah,
diary. So I'll look through my drafts and I'll go, okay, I've got one about vampire books, one
yeah,
about slashers, and I start plotting them out to days so that I know
yeah.
that I've got stuff coming. But that's the ideal. It doesn't really work. And at the minute, now I'm in deadline head. Like my friend who's helping with my socials, I was like, just so you know, all this help you've given me, I'm not giving up. I am just on deadline. So if I
Yeah.
disappear, like don't feel like, because I think she's wanting to do like start like media training people and stuff because she's
Oh,
really good
nice,
and she knows
nice.
a lot. So she's kind of testing it out on me because I am hopeless and I've never like worked on growing I've just always posted and never really thought about actually
Mm,
how many people are engaging with this, how can I get more people to engage. So she's teaching me like the skills of it, and it's pretty simple once you know, but some of it, like I said, I just, like she was saying hooks to me for about 3 weeks before it even sank in, like what a hook
mm,
is. And I still can't really always think of one. I generally can't think of one. But I think you get better at it. Like she was saying that now, like if I said to her, I want to do a video about vampire books. Like, she just think the hook like that because she's got good at it and she's practiced and she's realized, well, this type works, this type doesn't.
Yeah.
So it is, and a lot of it's trial and error. Like, if I see a video get like 2,000 views, I'm like, okay, I'll try something similar to that, but like with a different type of book, and then test it again. So
Yeah.
it's time consuming, but it kind of eventually shows results.
Nice.
Yes, that's my top tips for late on in the day. Okay. Well, somebody just popped into comments. Let's do a comment. And then hello. I have been editing. I'm now booking Center Park stuff, and Kasha is reading Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison, which we both approve and recommend. Sorry to speak for you, Kasha, but I feel like we're of the same brain with these things. So
yes,
I'm going to speak on your behalf. Okay, let's do the final sprint. I'm going to go and possibly start watching Dexter, possibly do more Center Parks. I don't know. One of those two things.
A little bit.
Okay. See you in a little bit.
See you.
Hello.
Oh,
And just like that, we are done. I very nearly booked the Centre Parks activities. We've got them in our basket. So after
nice.
sprints, I'm going to do that. And it's actually not cost as much as I thought. I was a bit worried, but we've kind of whittled it down to what we really want to do. And you can swim
Yeah,
for free every day. So free, well, included in the price that we've already paid. So free
yeah.
swimming and then bonus other activities.
Fantastic. When are you going?
Middle of March, so
March, huh? Yeah,
hopefully slightly warmer. But we just
hopefully.
carry on. We live in Europe, don't well, or we used to live in Europe. We're used to weather just doing whatever it does, and we just adapt.
Yeah, can't change it. Like here, normally, I don't think parks open also until probably March. I'm not sure when they open, but they're
Yeah,
also closed over winter because the weather is just not good enough.
yeah. A lot of theme parks, mostly in the UK, close or they're very limited. Like they
Yeah,
close most of the park over the winter, and then places like zoos, some of them stay open, some of them
yeah,
don't.
true.
And then so probably similar to where you are. And so it gets this time of year and stuff starts to reopen again. So like we have a half term coming up for the kids in like just over a week's time. So that's when everywhere goes, right, we're open now because all these kids can come and spend their money here.
Nice. Yeah.
So everything in the UK tends to start to kick off again around then. Do your kids have, I suppose, you don't have children, you kind of don't know the school holidays as well, but
No,
do
because
you
also
have a
every
school holiday
country is
coming up?
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, no idea because I also mostly work for companies that are not from here, so I don't
Yeah.
even
Okay.
know which days they close. And the friends that I have that have kids are either in Spain or Germany, so
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have no idea. No
That's
clue.
probably the best way to be honest. You live in blissful unawareness of it.
No, but when we
You
go to
carry
theme
on.
parks, we do check when there's kids' holidays, I think, because otherwise we know they're gonna be extra full. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always people there. I remember we went once, it was a weekday and it was a school day and it was still full. And I'm like,
We went to Disney. So before Nathan was school age, we took him to Disney in term time, thinking, right, it's going to be quiet. And it was
yeah,
still, the park was at capacity
yeah,
every day because everybody takes them out of school because it's so much cheaper.
hmm, that's fair.
So so we probably benefited slightly from it being slightly cheaper during term time, and slightly quieter. Disney, no, but other places, yeah. When he was little, we used to be able to take him places,
Yeah,
and like our local wildlife park was like empty, for example, during the week. It was
yeah,
just people, like older people going for walks, no children really.
yeah.
But yeah, Disney, nobody cares. It's just like the Disney time, Disney
Always full.
rules. We just take, always full. Take your children out, bring them
Yeah.
to us. It's all good.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
so
Ah.
how far are you with the book?
Oh, I made it to 31%.
You've done
So
so well. That's in one night.
yeah.
You're a third of the way through. This is good.
Yeah, it's going quite quickly. I think it's because it's easy to read because it does feel like a small town romance.
Yeah.
At times, it's like just visiting my sister, my mom is coming, and I don't like my mom. There's all this family drama and friends and stuff. But then on the background, more things happen. Like, I've noticed the dog starts barking at her, and I know why. Like all of these things are piling up, and she's like googling about werewolves to get ready because she's like, okay, if I actually got bitten by that, then maybe I should get ready before the full moon. Also so that she doesn't hurt other people. So yeah, we'll see.
This is
But yeah.
responsible werewolf behavior.
Yes,
Not all werewolves.
exactly. It's a
Not all
well-behaved
werewolves
dog.
do this.
Yeah. It's a well-trained
So
dog.
so it's way past it's way past my bedtime where you are. It's late
Yeah.
and it's getting towards my bedtime here. So I think it's time to wrap it up. But thank you, people in the comments.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
Kasha, as usual. It's been nice to talk horror, do some work, get my Centre Parks
Yes.
booked.
Got my book.
Priorities right.
We start reading my book. I've been exciting all day to start this book.
Yay. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's a nice feeling, isn't it, when you've built it up
Yeah.
and it actually is what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, like you never know with this type of authors. It's like, okay, I've liked two of her books. Is the third one gonna be the one that I don't like?
The Darcy Coates is a weird one for me, similar to Rachel
Mm,
Harrison, where I was like high expectations going in. The first one I picked up, I DNF'd, and I was like, oh man, do I not like Darcy Coates? Like, are me and her not a
mm,
thing? And then the second one I thought I really liked, and then I absolutely loved. Like the last two, I've absolutely loved. So I feel like she's going to be an author where I'm probably
it
mostly going
depends.
to like them and have
Yeah.
the odd. The problem was the one I gave up on was too sad. Like,
Mm,
I don't do well with sad, and I think that was just a random choice. I think most people would read that book and be fine, but I just didn't like the sadness. I
yeah.
like things to be happy, even things like Scream. Like they don't feel sad, do they? Like stuff's going wrong, but there isn't an air of sadness about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think mostly Rachel Harrison. I've been like all in every single one so far. But
Mm.
yeah, Darcy is like 3 out of 4. Isn't a bad record, I don't think. Like
It's
it's
not
better
bad. No.
better than when I started. And I was like, oh man, 1 out of 1 was a dud. This is not good.
I mean, I don't mind grief in books. I guess it depends. But I understand why for some people it might be harder to read because reading is something that you do to evade reality. And if something is really like hits close to home for whatever reason or talks too much about real grief and pain, I understand why you're like, nah, I actually
I,
want something to forget about reality.
yeah, I think books pull me too much into the emotions of them.
Mm,
So if it's grief, I feel the grief. Like I grieve with the characters, and like it's not necessarily a feeling I want to explore any more
yeah,
than I've already had to. So
yeah,
I don't shut off very well, which I think is why I like slashers because they tend to move on. Like people are briefly sad. It's like, oh, my friend's died, but I'm fighting for my life, so I can't think too much about that. Like that's
oh
my
no.
vibe, my jam. Yeah, no, I can cope with that, and it doesn't feel
Yeah,
like. I mean, I know stuff like this happens, like terrible things happen in the world, but I don't think probably like a ghost face is gonna appear in Doncaster and like start picking
yeah.
off teenage girls probably. So like
Probably not.
I think the slashers I kind of can escape reality still a little.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't feel. I know it has happened things like that in the past, and probably will again, unfortunately. But it feels a bit more removed from reality than
yeah,
like a family member. You're losing a family member. It's like, man,
yeah.
this is not something I want to think about. Um, so yeah, that's my take on horror, and maybe a good point to call it quits before I start just keep on talking. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank
Yes,
you,
thank you.
Kasha. And I don't know when I'm doing sprints next week. Thursday or Friday seems to work for me at the moment, so I'm going to keep. So check it out if you want to join us. And I'll see you in the next
Yes.
sprint.
Peace.
Bye.